It's Tuesday. You know what that means. We come out with our great 8 plays for week number 2 against the spread. Thus far, our record is 8-2-1. Can we keep that up? According to my calculations, that's an 80% winning percentage. Anything 60% and higher is fantastic against Las Vegas. We'll see what happens. And we're going to talk about Notre Dame. Continues to be squeezed in this new world of college sports and college football. Welcome to College Football Speaker on the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar, episode 34. Let's get right into the predictions for week number 2. All right, here we go. Again, our record so far this year is 8-2-1. Fantastic. Now let's see what we can do in week number 2. We got UCF -6.5. They're playing Louisville. Louisville looked terrible against Syracuse. Got ran over by Syracuse. We don't think anything's going to be different here in week 2. UCF -6.5. Arkansas and Tennessee, the next 2 games. I believe, even though they're both SEC, I continue to believe they're both being undervalued by the Vegas and by the people who are voting in the polls. Arkansas and Tennessee. Arkansas -8 versus South Carolina. If I was a Gamecock fan, I would not be happy with Spencer Rattler's first game. He was a little shaky. I know it's just his first game under the new program there at South Carolina. But KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's quarterback, they had a good, tough first week win against Cincinnati. Arkansas is going to roll in week 2. And I think Tennessee is going to roll in week 2 as well. I know they're going to go on the road against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Panthers just came off a big win against the rivalry in West Virginia in the backyard brawl. Pittsburgh gets to stay at home again for week 2. But can you see the Panthers secondary holding up against the Tennessee Volunteers passing offense? I don't think so. Panthers have a great defensive line, but that secondary is still shaky. Tennessee's going to throw up a lot of passing yards. I got Tennessee covering in that game. Texas Tech -3.5 against Houston. Boy, my dauber's down on the Houston Cougars after that first week. They could not run the ball at all. And I've got Texas Tech is playing Donovan Smith, their backup quarterback, but I thought he should have been their starter anyways in week number 1. The Red Raiders pounded Houston last year. I think the Red Raiders are going to beat Cougars this year. I got Texas Tech -3.5. Iowa State +3.5 against the Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm going to get a lot of heat from my Hawkeye brothers in the Big Ten, but Iowa State's going to cover. Now, Matt Campbell has never defeated the Iowa Hawkeyes in this rivalry game. Don't know if they're going to beat them this year, but I got them covering. Iowa Hawkeyes offensive line was brutal last week against South Dakota State. Quarterback Petrus, I don't think he has an answer. I think he is what he is. He's not a Big Ten quarterback. This has got to be the year. If there's going to be any time, it's got to be this year where Matt Campbell pulls through and defeats the Hawkeyes. I'm getting 3.5 points in this, so I've got Iowa State. West Virginia -13 against Kansas. I like this Kansas team. In my predictions at the start of the season, I got Kansas winning 3 games, but this is not going to be one of them. West Virginia looked mighty impressive against the Pittsburgh Panthers. They did not get that win. Neil Brown did not get that signature win that he needs so desperately as the Mountaineers head coach. But, man, they've got some players. They just got to catch the ball. Those receivers got to catch the ball. C.J. Donaldson, I'm excited to see him play here in week number 2. The running back, wow, what a horse he is. West Virginia wins this game by 3 touchdowns. Kentucky +4.5 against Florida. I know Florida's everyone's darling. They won a great game against Utah. Anthony Richardson is the real deal. He is the superstar that was born in week 1. But Kentucky's going to cover 4.5 points. Levis is going to come back. Hopefully Kentucky will get that running game going this week. Stoops is too good of a coach. Kentucky will see a big improvement in week 2. Kentucky covers that spread, 4.5. And this game, I have no understanding of the spread. Baylor plus 3.5 makes no sense to me. I was very impressed with BYU in week 1. That transfer running back from California, Chris Brooks, ran for a lot of yards. BYU ran for over 300 yards in game week 1. But they're not going to be able to do that against the Baylor Bears. Baylor Bears is my lock of the week, plus 3.5. So those are my picks, my grade 8 picks for week number 2. We'll see how it goes. Put your comments in the comment section below the video. Let me know where you agree, where you disagree with me. Let me know what your locks are for week number 2. Now we're going to get to our story here. Notre Dame continues to be squeezed in this new world of college sports and especially of college football. We're going to go to there's a question and answer period here with Jim Harbaugh, coach of Michigan, and I think he gives us a little bit of a clue of what he expects, how student athletes are going to get paid in the future. And I think he gives us a little bit of a clue, again, why Notre Dame is getting squeezed in this new world. This was a question to Jim Harbaugh. Jim, your thoughts on the expanded playoff. As someone who often advocates for student athletes, do you have any innovative ways to help them get a cut, especially if they play 17 games? Harbaugh, you talking about expanding to 12 games? Yeah, it's great. All for it. Question, and with players maybe playing 16 to 17 games? Harbaugh, I think you know exactly where I stand on that. Well documented that I do believe the players should receive a revenue share, from the massive TV deals that are being worked out. Don't you agree? What do you think? And this is where I think Harbaugh gives us a little peek around the corner, a peek behind the curtain here. The next question. I think they should get a cut. If they play 17 games especially, you usually have those ideas, and then Harbaugh says, as I said back in the summer, I think a large piece of come from the ones who are negotiating those TV deals. The Big Ten. I mean, it's 7 point something billion. It's a lot of billions. It's a lot of money. Yeah, I think the players should receive a revenue share. Okay. So, with Jim Harbaugh's the questions was trying to direct Jim Harbaugh to say, these student athletes, these football players could be playing 16, 17 games a season. Don't you think they should get some revenues, especially when they're playing 16 to 17 games? And Jim Harbaugh basically circles back and says, I'm a big advocate of student athletes getting a piece of this revenue off this revenue deal. But he says I'm gonna quote Harbaugh again here. As I said back in the summer, I think a large piece of it come from the ones who are negotiating those TV deals, the Big Ten. What Jim Harbaugh is saying is the large piece of this revenue being shared with the student athletes should come directly from the conference, from those who are negotiating those TV deals, the Big Ten. There's a couple reasons for this. We've been alluding to it. We've been reporting on it. Other people have been reporting on it. This is a new changed world. The conferences are becoming more and more powerful in how they set their rules, how they set their guardrails. The Supreme Court has basically given the green light so far in their rulings that the conferences can make these changes, these rulings, instead of some NCAA Board of Governance. So the Supreme Court is one part of this. The other part of this is Title IX. the payments coming directly from the universities to the student athletes can get quite complicated with Title IX. Now, I'm all for Title IX. Title IX is basically stating equal compensation, female and male, should be equal scholarships to a certain percentage, to a certain point between female and male. I think all that is fantastic. We've seen the growth of women athletic programs and then these universities. It's spectacular. If you need an example of that, just go turn on, watch women's volleyball in the Big Ten on Wednesdays and Sundays on Big Ten Network. It's fantastic. The ratings are great. The arenas are filled. The stadiums are filled. It's fantastic. I'm all for that. But we're talking about direct payments from the universities to the players. You can see that the players, the student athletes who are from the revenue, more revenue sports, creating sports, those direct payments are probably going to be more. Those student athletes are going to get more of the share because most of that TV money is for football. And then some of it's for basketball. And then all the other sports play less factor into the whole Big Ten media deal, right? So when you get the direct payments from the conference to student athletes, it works better. It doesn't involve Title IX. Okay? So, Harbaugh is basically saying this. The money, the revenue should come from the Big Ten, directly from the conference. And we're going to be seeing that. And we're going to be seeing NIL deals, conference-wide NIL deals, sponsorships, all that stuff, right? This is something that Notre Dame cannot do. Notre Dame is not part of a conference. Yes, they have their sports in the ACC, and the ACC, if they have direct payments from the conference to student athletes in those non-revenue sports, it's going to be a lot less payments to Notre Dame student athletes than the Big Ten and also the SEC, of course, right? Notre Dame's Olympic sports, their student athletes are going to get much less money from the ACC coffers because their media deal is nothing like the SEC and the Big Ten. And then what about Notre Dame's football program? Where are the direct payments going to come from? Straight from the university? And then they've got a Title IX complications. That's just another squeeze on Notre Dame's football as their status of independent that I do believe the national press still isn't picking up on. And then you got the fact that this college football playoffs, the new expanded college football playoffs. I understand the argument that Jack Swarbrick was in those meetings. He got the deal that he wanted, right? From my perspective, that was the best Notre Dame could get. But is that what they really going to want years down the line? To not be able to be a top 4 seed in the tournament, in the conference playoffs, in the college football playoffs, to never get that first round bye. Yes, they can have a home game if they're seeded 5th through 8th, as we all know, and then in the next expanded football playoffs. But what about those special seasons when Notre Dame ends up 1 through 4 in the final polls at the end of the year? What about those special seasons when Notre Dame finishes number 1 in the country, number 2 in the country after defeating USC and all the ACC opponents, and they run the table on their whole schedule? They don't get a first round bye, so they're going to have to play a week, the first round, and then play in the second round against a team that's just rested up. I don't see how that works. But okay. Many Notre Dame fans are okay with it for now. But come back to me after you've gone 12-0 and you got to play that first week. And then one of your star players get injured in that first week. And now you got to go play Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia in the second week. Leave your comments down in the section below the video. I read all of your comments. Let me know where you agree and you disagree. If you like this content, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to our channel. It helps our algorithm so much We're marching towards 1,000 subscribers, and please share the video with your friends and family. We appreciate your support so much. Until next time, from all of us at Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please, you all take care of each other. Thank you so very much.